Hello and welcome to another edition of See You Next Thursday on a week where the Harry Kane curse struck again to deny Bayern another trophy, this time losing in the cup to a third tier side. But anyway, this week it's just myself, Ed001, and the only Ed to have an Ed's number bigger than his IQ, Seamus O'Deeps, the luck ender. How are you, Seamus?
Sir, I am not the luck ender. It's Harry Kane. That's the actual luck ender.
Yeah, yeah, he's after your title, mate. You're gonna have to have words with him.
No, he's not after my title. It's his title already.
I mean, how can Bayern lose to a third tier side? And they had a strong side out. We were just looking at it, weren't we? Just while we were waiting to see if Billy had turned up. Like,
How can Bayern lose? You can just stop at that. How can Bayern lose
that's
in
a,
Germany?
that's a fair point. It's a very good question. Oh, actually, Billy's just signed in. So, you lucky lot, you're going to get Billy as well. How are you, Bill? We've just started, but he's got no sound as per usual. He'll have technical difficulties, no doubt. And we'll spend the next hour. We could run through the fixtures
Hello?
while he. Oh, he's here. Oh, Bill.
Yeah.
We just kicked
Hello,
off.
Trish.
So
How are you,
good
mate?
timing.
Oh, okay, mate.
So we literally just kicked off. I'd just done the intro and that was it. So
Okay, mate.
good timing, mate. Good timing. Because we're an hour different
Right.
now. You know, you're an hour further behind now. Remember? So
Yeah, yeah.
Seamus was here waiting. So
Yeah, that's not a problem, mate.
right. So
How are you, Seamus?
I am 2-3-0 home losses to the good Billy.
I thought you might be, mate.
he's as
That
happy as
aside, I'm doing just fine.
he's as he's as happy as the pygmies that Roger Miller keeps in the dungeon.
Basement, yeah.
Yeah, oh, they were in the basement. That's the thing. The stadium, the National Stadium basement, 120 of them. Yeah. Sorry, I've just realised people probably don't know that story. It's something you should look up if you don't know this story about Roger Miller. He organised supposedly a charity tournament for Cameroonian pygmies out of the forest there, and basically he kidnapped 120 of them and locked them in cells under the stadium with virtually no food and water because he said they played better if they didn't eat as much.
Fair enough.
So yeah, so they were just kept locked in there for a couple of days. Like, it's been nice. Unreal, that is. I mean, that's only that's the 1990s as well. Just not that long ago. Anyway, should we get on to? Should we just go straight on with the last week's results?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or should we start with the? Actually, should we start with the Balloon d'Or trophy quick first?
Yeah, we can do, yeah. Another fiddle. Go on,
Yeah.
Tris.
Yeah, I mean he's gone into retirement for the last however many months now, and he's still winning the bloody Balloon d'Or. Oh, it's ridiculous. He'll be dead 50 years before they stop giving it to him, I reckon.
Yeah, I can't see how he can. I've seen in the past where he probably should have won it, and he has done.
Really?
You know, when he's been one of the best, well, the best player in Europe for a long while. But now, come on, there's got to be, there's more deserving cases than him. Haaland, Salah, I think, should be ahead of him. Maybe a few other players, Kevin De Bruyne. Go on, Deeps.
I think Haaland, despite my reservations about him, I think Haaland should have won it because he was the main contributor for the team that won the most trophies and was like without a shadow of a doubt the best team in the time period that they had for the trophy.
The whole time period as well, not just
this not just a month or two.
But isn't that why they said Van Dijk didn't deserve to win it because he only played well in because it was the year Liverpool won the Champions League. And they said he only performed, he can't get it because he'd only done well in one tournament.
No, it's a bit weird. It's a bit weird, especially when they try to justify the award for Messi. That's just Van Dijk. There was a season when Andres Iniesta and Xavi played really well for Barcelona. Ergo won the same trophies for Barcelona as Messi, and then they excelled so much at the World Cup, and still Messi won the award. So World Cup isn't the be all and end all if you look at it like that.
Exactly.
And then you look at this award, and then it's not the best player in the world for 2023. It's the best player in the World Cup 2023.
I just think it just comes back to me. I just think Ibrahimovic got it right about the World Cup as well, when he said it was fixed and it'd go to Argentina because they wanted to make sure Messi completed football.
It wouldn't surprise me, I must admit.
Was it Ibrahimovic as well who said it? Because Van Gaal said it was fixed for Argentina as well.
Yeah, a lot of people have said it. They were saying it before it started as well. This isn't like something they've said like afterwards in a song. These were things they were saying before the tournament started, that Argentina would win it because it was fixed. I think pretty much everyone knew it, really.
I know we've said before that we didn't really watch the World Cup, so I wouldn't call myself the best judge of it, but my impression was that the actual best player was Messi's club teammate at that time, a certain guy who's even scored a hat trick in the final itself. I was led to believe that Mbappe was the best player at the World Cup.
Yeah,
I'd say
from the so-called experts.
Yeah, that's what everyone was saying. Obviously, I didn't watch it, so
I can't disagree with that. Actually.
Yeah.
So essentially, it just came down to that penalty shootout, because if that is the criteria, then Mbappe would have won the World Cup, wouldn't they? Sorry, would have won the Ballon d'Or had he won the World Cup.
Yeah.
But
but he wouldn't have. He wouldn't have.
No, because it was predetermined. I think. And it's lost its credibility for me, the Ballon d'Or, a long time ago, not just this case. Everything lost credibility a long time ago. Yeah.
Well, how does the best goalkeeper in the world award go to Emi Martinez when clearly there's one keeper that's been head and shoulders above the rest for the last few years and still hasn't fucking won the award? If I can remember right, Alisson, has he won the award?
No, that's not even the biggest hypocrisy there, because in the rankings for the best players in the world, another goalkeeper finished like 2 places above Dibu Martinez. Okay, it's not even like he was the player that finished with the most votes in the best player award. Yassine Bono from Sevilla, Morocco, and now his current team in the Middle East. He finished 12th and Martinez finished 4th, if I'm remembering it correct. Like 14th, sorry.
Yeah.
So he didn't even finish. Yeah, he didn't even get the most points for the goalkeepers in the general awards. So how does it work?
Wasn't that to say, like, it's like the FA player, the tournament, the player of the year didn't even make the team of the year.
Team of the season, yeah.
Yeah, team of
the year.
That's it. It's like, what? How does that work?
It's not on really, is it?
These awards are just a joke these days, sadly.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's a shame because it used to, the Ballon d'Or used to be something like, you know what I mean? When somebody won it, Keegan, how much as I hated him for leaving Liverpool, and I've still, even now, because as a kid I was broken out. I was only like 3, but it's still like, ever afterwards I had it drummed into me. He just walked out of Liverpool for the money, and that's it. I couldn't forget. I've never been able to forgive him because of it. And yeah, Still, you look at it and think, yeah, he deserved to win it, and that's why he won it. You look at some of the other later ones, and you just think it's been getting more and more ridiculous over the years. And then once it got to this Ronaldo Messi thing, it just turned into a farce. It had to be one of them, no matter who was the best player in the world that year. It was just which of them two would win it. There wasn't any real contest. There wasn't any who was the best player. Most of the time, neither of those two were the best player of their team, let alone in the world.
I don't know who was the guy who said it first, but it's the Ballon d'Or has now just become about who has the best PR for the year, who has the strongest PR campaign. For me, like Billy was saying, it lost credibility in 2010 when Messi won it instead of any of the Spanish performers, or the actual rightful winner for me, who was Wesley Sneijder.
I see that.
Yeah, because 2010 he won the treble with Inter, then reached the final with Netherlands.
Yeah, I can see that. He was best.
Ultimately, you play football to win trophies, not just to score goals. Not just to score goals. You want to score goals, but you also want to win the matches. You want to win the tournaments. You want to win the competitions. Everything.
Well, yeah, scoring the goals to win matches. That's the whole point of them, isn't it? It's not to score goals for the sake of it. To score goals is to win matches. That's what you're doing it for. Yeah. Should we? Because there's not really a lot. It's just it's turned into a joke of
we can just run through the different awards in that ceremony. Messi won the Ballon d'Or. Haaland finished second. Mbappe finished third. Like you said, Emi Martinez, who got less votes for best player than Yasin Bono, won the best goalkeeper. However, neither of them would make Billy's top 10, let alone mine.
Didn't Pickford get a mention? No.
At this rate, Billy, Pickford. You make those sounds Chris, but at this rate, Pickford is just one good month away from becoming the best goalkeeper in the world.
That's true. That's true. He only has to one game. He only has to play, save a penalty in a World Cup final.
And then what's his face? Jude Bellingham won the Copa Trophy, like best young player award.
Yeah.
Obviously he did. Obviously he did.
That makes good.
But yeah, that one's hardly that's hardly a difficult choice, is it? That one, like
he won the freaking El Clasico 2 days ago.
Yeah,
like 2 days before the ceremony, so he was gonna win it.
And it wasn't really fantastic player. Yeah, there had to be.
There's only one true competition for him for that award, and that's Jamal Musiala, and that's it.
Yeah,
there's only one player that can even like.
Yeah, and he's not quite on that. He's not been on the same planet since Bellingham went to Real Madrid, so we had no chance. Bless him.
So yeah, maybe that was the reason he chose to go to Madrid. Yeah, maybe Jude actually is that smart. Yeah.
Yeah, he would.
If you want to win personal accolades.
Yeah.
Yeah. And be a big star. That's the way to do it. You go to Real Madrid, they make you a star anyway immediately. It makes you one.
Yeah.
You're playing for Real Madrid, so your sponsorship deals fly in then, don't they? Yeah.
Manchester City obviously won the Best Club Team Award. Second season in a row.
Again, not a difficult choice. I'm surprised they didn't give it to Argentina. Oh, do they separate? I'm surprised they didn't find a way, say Messi get it.
No, they could have given that award to Inter Miami.
Yeah. Or PSG from the season, because he'd have got it for either
no
because he's
chance.
still at PSG for a bit.
Right, Chris, let's move on to the games. Let's move on to the game from last week.
Yeah, start on the Friday night. There was Crystal Palace against Tottenham. I don't know if you watched this. I actually saw this one. Tottenham won.
Yeah, I've seen a bit of it.
Went to Palace and won 2-1.
Hang on.
Uh-oh.
Are we not going to talk about the female footballers?
No.
You sexist.
It's not that. I don't know anything about them, so I can't talk about them. I've not watched any. I've watched women's football in years.
It's not my cup of tea, I must admit, and that's not being sexist. I've watched all the football, but it's not the greatest standard, I think. Good luck to them, let them, I'm happy that they're playing, I'm happy that they're getting the publicity, but I think it's a quiet taste, women's football. Good luck to them, and great stuff that they're playing, and they're in leagues and they're earning money. That's it. Good luck to them, but it's just not my cup of tea, I'm afraid. I don't think the standard's good enough, and that might sound sexist, but it's not meant to be.
Okay, for completion's sake, it's Aitana Bonmati who won the female Ballon d'Or. If she came and knocked on my door right now.
Yeah. She
you know what's gonna
bollocks for not knowing who she was. I still wouldn't know who she was.
She could actually hit me in my head with a Ballon d'Or trophy. I would still not recognize her.
You'd be there going, did she steal that off Messi?
No, I would genuinely think it's Messi's girl. I would think it's Messi's. I would think it's Messi's wife coming out afterwards.
Yeah.
Right, let's get on to Tottenham now. You've exhausted that one, I'm afraid.
Yes, so Spurs pretty much dominated this game. Palace were poor.
Yeah.
And despite the close scoreline, Palace were really poor, and Spurs weren't much better. To be fair, I've got to say, Spurs don't look a particularly good side at the moment, despite them picking up.
It's not a lot of look at them at the moment, Tris. That seems they played. I don't think they played any massive games. I know they played Arsenal, got a draw, but they haven't really played a run of games where they could have been tested more. I think that's going to come, and as much as I congratulate Postecoglou for what he's done with them. I think they're a better side than when Harry Kane was in the team actually, but they haven't really played that many good teams yet. So you can say, oh, they're doing really well. It's going to come, and see how they do that.
I think the only real, apart from the Arsenal game, obviously, but that's a derby, so the form goes out the window and ability and all that goes out the window because it's a derby and it just goes a bit weird. The only team they've actually played, apart from Arsenal, though, is Liverpool, and then they needed, the officials to help them. Send off 2 players. And they still needed an own goal to win it against 9 men. I mean, that doesn't suggest they're a particularly, they're in particularly good form, playing particularly well, does it? Because they didn't look like they were going to win it either. I mean, they could have, they looked like they were going to lose it still against 9 men, didn't they? Really? If you didn't know the result and you just watched, stopped it just before the goal and said to someone, who's going to, that's all they'd seen is just up to 2 minutes before the goal. Who's going to win this? You'd have said, I think Liverpool might snatch this. They look on the better side, even with 9 men.
Yeah,
they were breaking on them really well, and so Spurs. Luck, I think, has played a big part, or corruption, whichever way you want to put it, or both. Either way, they've definitely not looked a great side yet.
Well, you can't fault them for what they've done now, because they beat what's in front of them to the main, and they've done well, and they're quite easy on the eye, actually. I like the style of football they're playing. They've been getting the results, so all power to them in that way. But I think they've got a harder part of the season to come when they're going to have a run of games where they mightn't get a lot of points. And let's see how they do then, you know?
Yeah, this is when we find out what kind of what the players are actually like. I think the manager's fine. I think he's a great, he's going to be, people are going to really, rail in the future. He's going to be seen as one of the better managers that have been in the Premier League. But I don't know if he's yet got the team to, under him to win trophies yet. I think they still, they're top at the moment, but you can't see it lasting, can you?
Not really, no. I can't.
It's one of those things where you think they're doing well, but it's going to come, it's going to come crashing down. And when it does, they'll probably have a long run of bad results that they shouldn't have because the players are just Spurs players. That's what that's not Spursy. I think he'll get rid of it over time, but I don't think it's quite there yet.
No, a bit of a false position at the moment. But, as I say, they beat everything in front of them, virtually, and they've had a bit of luck, but that's the top of the league, so you can't really argue with what they've done up to now. So, good luck to them, and let's see how they do when they have a bit of a harder time with it than what they have been.
Yeah, when the winter hits and the games are coming thick and fast during the winter, over the Christmas period, that's when we'll find out what they've got.
Yeah, absolutely.
You also have to remember one more thing about them. They've only got one competition to play right now.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, because they're out of the cup, and the League Cup.
They were out of the cup before August was over.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the FA Cup now. They've got two competitions.
No. Right now they only have to focus on Premier League because the FA competition doesn't start until January.
Oh yeah, at the moment. Sorry, at the moment. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they weren't in Europe, so. Yeah, so
it's pretty much one game a week, so they've got enough time. The manager also should have enough time to prepare the team and everything, and I also think we should take this moment to applaud them for their excellent recruitment and an excellent replacement for Harry Kane by buying off Mr. Howard Webb.
Good point, Keeps.
Yeah.
No, that's money well spent.
Oh, that's weird. That's been well worth it. Barcelona would tell you that. Money well spent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Should we move on to this? Sorry.
But Barca can also then show you that is how you end up with the $2 billion debt.
Yeah. I think a lot of that is stupidity though, because they are a mess. They've been bad for years. They're a huge income, and they just piss it away. Too many. This is the problem with them: is they're too busy doing, the president busy doing doing nasty things on his rivals. Paying journalists to write hatchet pieces on his rivals and having he employs private eye firms to follow all his rivals, and investigate them and dig up dirt on them and other people as well, political rivals and other teams, presidents, stuff like that. It wouldn't surprise me if they're not match fixing and properly match fixing. That's where the money's going as well. Wouldn't surprise me at all with Barcelona. Really wouldn't. More than they club my ass. They're one of the worst things in the world to me. I don't understand why people love them. Really don't.
Speaking of one of the worst things in the world right now, one of the worst team in the football world right now, or the team that hosted the first game on Saturday.
Yeah, they've been looking like they were getting better, and then they're at home to Brentford and lose 2-0. Of course, we're talking about Chelsea losing 2-0 in a.
All right.
Would that count as a West London derby?
I wouldn't know the geography of London, to be honest with you, but
I know it's fairly near to Chelsea.
I don't know anything else. I don't know anything else about Chelsea just except the fact that if I see a Chelsea supporter, I become so happy.
Because it's the one person you take the piss out of, yeah?
No, it's the one person that makes me feel like things could have been worse.
I don't think they're worse than Man United, I'll be honest with you. I don't.
Believe what the table says they are. Everton are breathing down their necks.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
and Everton are in like what, $500 million in debt. That's how much That's how much Chelsea's budget is every window.
Yeah, that's just one win. That's just a few signings to them. It's not even a full. That's not even a full team, let alone. That's just a few players to sit on the bench. That is for Chelsea.
Yeah, they are a bit of a mess. Right, now we're going to get out to Chelsea, aren't we? Who's the next game, Trish?
Chelsea Brentford. That's what we're talking about.
Oh, sorry, that's my fault there. Yeah, Chelsea. I watched that game, and
and me.
Yeah, Chelsea were okay, because we like to watch it, but it was an okay game actually. Not the best quality, but it was quite an entertaining game. But they're so open, Chelsea. They're going to get caught out a lot of times unless they sort themselves out. They always look as though they're going to concede a goal to me, and they conceded 2. And Brentford, for me, deserved to win that game. Did you watch it, Trish?
Yeah, and they missed Enzo, I think, a lot because he's the only player that can play a pass, a forward pass in the team, I think. Crazy lad, and Caicedo's just playing. He's playing like a player who's just desperately trying not to make a mistake. So he's so careful. He's not actually doing anything to help out the team because he's just being too careful. And the whole team just looks. They're not very. Just don't look very good. Let's be honest.
No, they don't. No.
They couldn't score in a brothel with a fistful of fivers, could they?
No, they're just not gelling for me. I know they've got a lot of new players in, but that's their own fault. They didn't have to. And some of the players they brought in, they aren't up to speed yet. As you said, Caicedo, he's not up to speed yet. He's not playing like he did for Brighton. He's another few players there look very wishy-washy to me. And I think it's going to be a while before they'll get on their feet. Even though Pochettino thinks that it's all coming together now, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, normally they were really poor. They really were. I mean, they said it isn't like they were beaten because they were not good at all, rather than because of anything else. They just didn't turn up.
No, and they moved the ball slowly as well. For me, too slow. You see the better teams, and they move the ball quickly, and they don't move the ball quickly at all. Everything's measured and very static. The players, and it's not good to watch for the supporters, I'd imagine. I don't watch a lot of Chelsea, but I watched them the weekend, and they didn't convince me that they were moving forward. And I think it's going to take time for Pochettino. I think they should stick with Pochettino, but I think it's going to take a while to get them up running as a serious contender for European places. I
definitely think they should keep Pochettino for good because he's a serial loser. Let's be honest.
I actually like the man, but I think I like his brand of football. Not this stuff he's playing here because that's the players down to the players he's been left with. But I think he'll get it right. I don't think they're going to win all sorts of titles, but I think they'll be a force maybe in a year or two. But at the moment, they do look awful.
I think he lacks discipline as a manager. He doesn't provide any, so they'll be Spursy.
Yeah, possibly.
That's why Spurs struggle, because they got no real discipline. It's all flair, no discipline. They haven't had any since the 60s, and then they actually won things when they did have it. Yeah, you need it. Keep your players actually caring and that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you see any of it, Seamus?
Thankfully, no.
Oh, it's quite enjoyable actually. I quite enjoy watching Chelsea lose personally.
I actually would as well. Now you say that.
You just hadn't thought of that, had you?
I should watch more of Chelsea. It's gonna make me feel better.
Yeah, that's probably a good way to make yourself feel better. That's why I always send my friend up. When people send me all the Man United things, the gags about Man United, I usually send them on to her because she's a Chelsea fan, and just because I know it annoys her, because she can't enjoy it because her team's worse. So it makes me feel better anyway. Yeah. Should we move on to the next game then? This Arsenal Sheffield United close run thing there.
Bit of a fashion that, wasn't it?
For Arsenal.
Eddie Nketiah, a hat trick. Happy for the lad. I don't think he's the greatest centre forward, but he's only young and he's learning. And to score 3 goals is a bit of a feat, whatever competition you're in. And he took his goals really well, especially the second one. Really fired it into the top corner really well. And let's be honest about it. That Sheffield United are a very, very poor outfit. I believe they had a meeting after the game, the players, and Higginbottom was asked or agreed to leave the room while the players discussed what the problems were with the club. Sorry, Heckingbottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heckingbottom.
Yeah, he left the room and the players discussed what was wrong between them, and then it's up to the captain to approach him and told him what was happening. This is the story that's coming out at the moment. And go on, Trish.
I think it's quite easy to say what's wrong with them. They're shit. They're just not good enough. They're players.
I don't think they want to hear
that. What's the discussion going to be? Look, all of them sitting there going, well, you're just not good enough. You're shit, you. Yeah, I mean, that's it, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, but
I think they were discussing tactics. Go on, Tips.
My question is, how is he still in the job? It's sad to call for anyone to get sacked, but they're winless. They concede a lot of goals. They look toothless in attack. They don't even have a style of play that they're failing to execute.
1 point in 10 games speaks for itself, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I don't know why they're continuing with Heckingbottom, because there's only one place he's taking them, and that's fucking bottom.
Yeah, and he's taking them back down. Yeah, I mean it's clear they're going back down, but I mean nobody's going to rescue them. Not being funny, because they're that bad.
I'm just confused.
Be in the same mess. So what's the point? Just paying someone off and paying a few million out.
I'm just confused with how poor all the promoted teams have been. It's a very sad reflection on the level of championship.
Mm-hmm. It's strange because
I can see why you're saying that.
Burnley absolutely strolled the championship by the end, in the end.
Yeah, but let's say Burnley had struggled, but they struggled, and one of the other promoter sides had done relatively well, then you could have said, okay, they fluked it a bit and everything. But all 3 teams are struggling, and all 3 teams look like they can't buy a win.
To be fair, I think that a lot of that is down to they just didn't. A lot of the times when teams come up, they have a go. They splash the cash and they buy play. Even if it's only some teams might buy only 1 or 2 players. These, try and buy quality players. But these 3, they've just brought in more. They've brought in journeymen in there, and haven't they? I mean,
but Burnley have just bought from City's academy.
Yeah,
but Chris, when you look at players at teams that come up, right? One thing they usually have is fight and attitude, and none of the 3 who come up have got that.
Oh, and I think Luke can fight.
They're so poor though that as much as they can fight, they're so poor, and that's what teams usually have. It usually gets them. Like Brentford, when they come up, they had attitude, they had fight, they had a few good players, but they done really well because they give it their all. These don't seem to be giving it their all. I don't know why I think that, but they don't seem to want to work at getting better. That's what I feel anyway with the team that come with.
You look at it, Sheffield United they've got crap in their side and they bought crap. I mean, there's nowhere they're going bar down because of it. Look at Burnley. They brought in just basically Man City youngsters. It just feels like companies trying to help out Man City rather than trying to improve his Burnley side. He bought a goalkeeper that can't kick a ball under pressure. And even when he's not under pressure, he tends to just put it in the stands to play passing out from the back football. I mean, what the... An arrogant son of a bitch as well, who said about when he was playing in League 2, I think it was, on loan, and he was talking about being a big star goalkeeper. I mean, fucking big-headed twat. You're not a big star. You're a kid. You're a kid on loan from a big club. You're not a big star name. You're nothing, and you should remember that. And he's been poor every time I've watched him. He's just an awful goalkeeper. You look at it and the price they paid for him, untested, awful goalkeeper who can't play the style of play the company wants to play, and yet he bought it. I mean, there's nothing about
it. Last night, they were 3-0 down. They were 2-0 down. They were still playing around at the back, making 12 passes inside the box. What sort of what company playing at when he wants his team to play like that? That's what I'm saying. They don't look as though they got the fight to get the ball forward to try and get a goal. They don't look at a threat at all to anyone.
They don't even try, do they, to do that? They just pass it around. I can't see how he's still in a job, to be honest. But anyway, we're not doing that. We're on Sheffield United.
No, we can move on to Burnley's game anyway. It's Bournemouth-Burnley.
Bournemouth beat Burnley 2-1 at Bournemouth. I mean, Bournemouth are god awful, absolutely dreadful. I watched that game because I just wanted, because obviously it's a relegation 6-pointer. I thought I wanted to see who's the worst of them two, and Bournemouth were awful, and yet they still won easily against Burnley. Really, Burnley scored. I know Burnley scored, but really they didn't deserve anything from that game at all, and that's why they got nothing. They were dreadful. They just don't. They don't attack.
The keeper was awful. The keeper was awful as well. Because he got chipped by Billy from, 60 yards out or whatever it was. But he dived back instead. He could have just stood up. He could have caught the ball. But he decided to dive back, which left him about 4 foot off the ground. And it's not as if the ball went in the top corner.
I don't understand how he's the England under-21 goalkeeper either. He's nowhere near good. He's not a good keeper at all. He's just they're gonna go down because they've got dross like that playing for him. It's as simple as that. He might work hard and improve himself and become a good keeper in time, but right now he's nowhere near good enough for a Premier League team or a Championship team or a League One team, in my opinion.
He is poor.
Yeah.
As long as England keep producing these kind of keepers, Pickford is going to remain the number 1.
Yeah, exactly.
But they don't look good at all. They've got a couple of good kids up front, who come on as substitute yesterday against Everton, and they had a couple of good kids.
We'll talk about the cup later.
Sorry. No, I was just talking about Burnley. You know, the players that they've got. That they have got a couple of good kids there. I think. You know, they're only young, only very young, but they're getting thrown in at the deep end, and it's not probably the right environment for them in that team at the moment because they look awful.
Raz, I think this is the best time. Is when they're in trouble and they have to do something. It's this is when you learn. It's when you're losing.
I think it's a confidence destroyer when you're playing in a side like that. Myself, personally, I do. Honestly, I do.
But then,
I think
if it destroys your confidence as a kid, that you're in, and you're just a kid, then that's either down to the manager being poor and putting pressure on you. When he should be saying, I
think that's the case.
Play, or it's the fact that they've simply not got the right attitude anyway, and they're not going to make it either way. Most of the time, that's the biggest problem, is the attitude's wrong, you know what I mean? And they let it affect them when, you're going to go through bad patches, and the only way you learn and improve as a player is to lose and, hit the buffers and have to fight through it.
Yeah, these only come on as subs, these kids, by the way. They were last gasp subs, but they did look to have a bit of ability on the ball. That's why I'm saying about them. But they are in a bit of a rut at the moment, and I don't think they're going to change unless they get rid of Kompany. I think Kompany is probably the biggest problem at Burnley. I think they may have to move on to another manager if they want to have a chance in survival. I don't think they will, even if they do get another manager, but I think they'd have a better chance than what Kompany's trying to accomplish there, which is football played from the back, and it's very slow. There's no movement in the midfield, so the ball just comes back again, and then they play the football around the box, and they don't look a threat to anyone. They're very poor side for me.
Yeah, I think he needs to be changed. If he can't change it himself, if he's not going to change the way he's playing, it's passing for passing's sake. If he's going to continue to do that, then he's going to get the sack, and it'll be his own fault.
Yeah, they're not Man City. They can't play that sort of football. They haven't got the skill set to play that sort of football, and that's why they're in trouble.
Soon to change too, if they. Well, no, they'll be able to. I say they'll be able to look at Ten Hag will be available soon, so they could always bring him in as well. There's an option for them.
Yeah, they can have him.
Yeah,
we've won. But then I watched that game, and the goals were all right, but they against Bournemouth, they are a poor side, Bournemouth. There's no getting away from that. They're an awful side to watch as well. They're not very, they're not very good going forward. Their defence is poor, and there's not much they've got going for them at the moment. So they got a win, which was a big deal for them. It is a big deal for them. They need wins to stay up. I know the other three are really bad, but they're not far off it, Bournemouth. Yeah, they're not far off one of the worst teams.
I think their only hope is beating those three that got promoted last season, because they're nowhere near as good as anybody else in the league. It's only those three that they got a chance of beating. So
yeah, they've got their own league, haven't they? Bournemouth, Luton, Sheffield United, and Burnley. That's their own league, and whoever finished top of that survives. But they do look awful, I'm afraid.
Yeah, both of them were terrible. Anyway, we'll move on. Wolves versus Newcastle, 2-2 draw. I've got to say, Wolves were robbed again by the officials.
Yeah.
I think they were by far the better side in that game. They looked really good against Newcastle. I've got to say, Newcastle didn't look as good. They were outplayed comprehensively at times for large periods of it, and Wolves were unlucky there, I think. Well, I say unlucky. They were. Do you know what? How many times can you get given an apology before it becomes obvious that they're cheating against you? Sorry, I just don't believe it can be an honest mistake when it happens so often.
I think it's just the case of the richer teams being able to line a few pounds in Howard West's pocket. And Wolves are the poorest team in the league right now because the owner doesn't own a spin.
Yeah.
And if you can't tell it by now, then I'm fully on board your corruption theory now. After denying it for weeks.
It's hard not to be. I mean, the more you watch it, the more obvious it is that it's corrupt, isn't it? It's just gone past the stage where you can believe it's incompetence after a while, isn't it? You're looking at it. If you watch enough of it, you just start thinking, this can't be incompetence. Nobody could be this bad. Even if they tried to be, you couldn't get this many things wrong.
If the referee goes to the monitor and he watches that over, it's not a penalty. You can't give a penalty for that. It just brings them into disrepute again. And they're doing themselves no favours, the referees, because they're making poor decisions week in, week out. It's not one-offs like you'd expect it to be. These are happening every week, decisions like that. And, you know, as you say, Wolves were robbed. They're not the first team that's been robbed this year, obviously. But that's when corruption starts to rear its ugly head, or claims of corruption, I'll have to say, I suppose. But, you know, Wolves deserved more out of that. They had a lot of fight in them. I was quite impressed the way Wolves played, actually. They looked a better side than I thought they were going to be at the start of the season. And I think they'll safely be up towards mid-table if they carry on the way they are. Newcastle, I wasn't that impressed with them. I like the way Newcastle play. I think they've got some really good players, but they were the second best team on that park Saturday, and you know they were very, very lucky to come out of it with a point.
Wolves' third apology of the season already. We're only 10 games in.
It beggars belief, doesn't it? It really does. People are falling out of love with the game because of what's happening with referees and the PGMOL and VAR. People are actually losing faith in the game. You know, the beautiful game isn't as beautiful as what maybe it should be. And I know a lot of people, especially on the sites, are saying that they're not enjoying the games as much because of what's happening with the referees. And it stinks of corruption to me, but I've been told that I'm out of order saying that, and so maybe I should take a step back from actually commenting on that.
I'm with you on it. I can't see how you can get 3 apologies in 10 games from referees just being incompetent. I'm sorry, I just don't believe it. There's definitely there's more to it. Has to be. There's just no way. It's too much. How about you, Seamus? What do you think of that game? Did you watch it?
I didn't watch it, but if the referees are this incompetent, then maybe you should change the referees by now.
Exactly. I mean, they demote them down for one game and then they're back again, or they have a week off and that's it. I mean, well, what fucking good's that doing?
Not
Darren
much.
England's back. Darren England's back after his after that disgraceful performance in the Liverpool Spurs game, and yet he's still there in the Premier League officiating. How is that allowed? He should have been sacked immediately. There's no kind of shouldn't have been an argument.
Absolutely. I don't think anyone can agree with that, Tris. It's if you do that in any other walk of life, you're out the door. If you make such a bad mistake like that, you've got to be out the door, and it's got no credence, and people are not going to take it seriously if you don't act and say suspend them for 6 months or sack them or whatever. But they shouldn't be back a couple of weeks later, with any input into a game. It's just not on, and people are fed up with it. I know I am.
If you're that incompetent, surely you should be relegated down and give somebody else a chance.
Mm.
I mean, how can they be worse? I mean, we've already got incompetence. Well, look, What can somebody who's inexperienced do any worse than the incompetent tools we've got running the game at the moment?
Yeah, it is. It's a sorry state of affairs, but it's happening every week. It's not as if it's a one-off. It's happening every week.
Well, it's hardly a surprise. I mean, we all know how Howard Webb used to stick his refereeing kit over his Man United kit before each game. So it's hardly a surprise that with him in charge it's corrupt, is it? I know what I mean.
It's not a good look for them, I must admit. And as much as I enjoyed the game, the Newcastle game, because it was end to end, it was some good football played. I thought Wolves were the better side, but I thought Wolves were, well, I know that Wolves were robbed. I don't think they were robbed. I know they were robbed. And but it doesn't say a lot for the game, does it? You know, for the state of the game. I mean, when you've got a good game going and it's decided by an official incompetence rather than how the game should have ended up, you know, and you should be talking about the good football that was played, the dynamic of the game, which was really good, end-to-end stuff. That's what you should be talking about. The talk shouldn't be about just how bad the referee was and the decision he made. It's ruining football.
It's fine if they hadn't got VAR and multiple replays that we can all see as well, and we get less. We get less angles than they do as well, less viewing angles, less replays than they get to see of it. So they should actually be, have an easier job to make these decisions correctly than we do watching at home. But we can clearly see they're not. It's ridiculous. Something needs to change, but it's not going to, is it? Until somebody gets caught with a brown envelope. That's the only time.
Absolutely, yeah. Did Mark Halsey say that he come out and said that he knows for a fact that there's corruption, and it wouldn't surprise him if someone was up before the judge this season in the Premier League, the referee wasn't up in court over what's gone on in football. And he's been at the core of it, Mark Halsey, when he was a referee, and he says it's happening. But, that's up to you.
I've never heard him say it. It's just quotes on the internet, which...
It's quotes, it's quotes, yeah.
Yeah, at least
it's been quoted anyway. But you actually read them quotes. They're actually believable, aren't they?
Yeah.
They really are. And you could see why people are saying that, because it's just not trustworthy no more. You don't know what you're going to get in the game. People are worrying about the referee rather than the team selection, who the referee's going to be in that game. And it's just not right.
About the only thing is that Wolves will get an apology after the game.
Yeah. It seems that way, yeah.
At the start of a weekend, that's about the only thing that's going to happen. So anyway, unless you got anything to add, Seamus, on that one? Yeah.
You thought Dermot Gallagher was bad? Howard Webb just said, "Hold my beer."
I know. He has, hasn't he? He's just really gone, you think you can do corruption properly? I'll show you how to make This is how you do it. We've even got VAR in place to make sure we can just give the wrong decisions anyway. And if they give the right, if they give the decision we don't want them to give, we can then tell VAR to change it. And if they give the right, the decision we want, we just tell VAR to go along with it, even when it's obviously wrong. It's fine. We've got this sorted now. That's how it feels, and that's what I'm watching, and that's what it looks like. So if it quacks like a duck, it's a fucking duck, isn't
it? Yeah.
Unless your dog's got real problems. Anyway,
what's the next one, Trish? Yeah.
Sunday's first game was the West Ham Everton game. Mighty
Everton. Yeah, Mighty Everton are doing all right. 1-5 out of the last 7 games. Everton really improving. They were the better side against West Ham for me. people were saying it's very close.
Definitely.
It was close, but I thought Everton were the better side. I thought they had the better chances. I was a bit disappointed with West Ham. They had two half chances, Bowen's header, and the lad with the shots, Paqueta, is it? But Everton were, they had the better chances in the game. I thought Everton played all right. Thought he was solid. Thought Jared Branthwaite was excellent again, making a good name for himself as a young left-footed centre-back. Looks really good. Thought the midfield of Onana, who I haven't been his biggest fan, I must admit, and James Garner played really well. Thought we bossed most of the game. What, mate?
I was saying, I think they're a good combination, those two.
Yeah, I think they work well together.
Yeah, nice balance.
Yeah, and I think Dyche has got the team a bit more galvanised than they were. Dominic Calvert-Lewin makes a massive difference to Everton when he's playing. He holds the ball up well. He's a threat. He lays the ball off well, and he's a goal threat. He scored a lovely goal against West Ham that won the game. But I'm happy the way Everton are doing at the moment. I'd like them to be a bit more expansive, but don't think we've got the players to be that expansive. But as a team and as a team unit, I think Dyche is doing all the right things at the moment. And the people who were calling for his head 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe looking a bit silly. I think he's done well. I think they're galvanised. And I think even with a deduction of points, if that does actually come off, which I don't think it will, I think they'll be all right this season. But there you go. That's just my opinion.
You should hope for a point deduction this season, Billy. Because you're probably still gonna end up safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you might be right, Dibs, because I think even with 9 or 12 points deduction, I still think we'll be ahead of them four who I mentioned before. And because yeah. Did you watch the game, Chris? Did you, Dibs?
Yeah. Yeah, you're better side by far. I thought West Ham were awful, to be honest, and I think that was partly because of the way Everton played. They just can't play with the ball. You just let them have the ball, and they didn't know what to do with it.
No.
And they ended up giving it away in dangerous areas.
Yeah, I thought we'd done okay, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you were the better side, without a doubt. I think that was a well-deserved win. Did you see it, Seamus?
Nope.
He doesn't watch football. He's a Man United supporter.
Yeah, he's keeping his head down. Well, we'll move on to the... unless you've got anything else to add to that one, Bill?
No. Just we've done well, as I said, and thought we deserved the win. I'm happy with the team, the way they're playing at the moment, as I say. 5 wins out of 7 is not a bad return, especially with the squad that Everton have got, which isn't the strongest. But we're doing okay at the moment, so happy days.
Okay. Move on to Aston Villa versus Luton Town. Aston Villa strolled that 3-1 win, and they could have scored as many as they wanted. Really, it wasn't. They weren't really.
It could have been. It could have been 10-1, couldn't it?
Yeah.
I think they were a good side, though, Tris, aren't they? They are a good side.
Good.
Yeah, they're a good side. They're playing as a unit. They look to be enjoying it, and they've got a few good players there. Love the centre forward, but they've got a good all-round side, and they play some nice stuff. And Luton just win at the races. The 3-1 is very flattering for them, to be honest with you. I know they scored late in injury time, a little bit of a consolation goal. But if it had been 10, Luton couldn't have complained. They were that much better. And it showed. Yes, very much so.
Yeah. Did you see it, Seamus?
Obviously, no.
Just in case you wanted to add something. No, we'll move on to Brighton and Fulham then, a 1-1 draw. I'm wondering when people are going to start asking questions. De Zerbi, really? Because Fulham is Fulham. The only reason that they're not, in a relegation battle is because there's 4 sides that are so god awful this year. They're probably the 4 worst sides since that Derby County side that set the record for the lowest points total. I think the 4 Bournemouth, Burnley, Sheffield United and Luton are probably the 4 worst sides since that Derby team ever, to play in the Premier League. They're that bad, and Fulham aren't much better. And the fact that they managed to get a draw against Brighton just shows how bad Brighton actually are. I think personally, I just don't think they're a good side anymore. They're really falling away, and I think they're going to start slipping down the table.
Yeah, I know you've been saying it for a long time about De Zerbi, Tris, this year. And, they don't look half the side they were even last year. They look to have regressed, and they've got some marvellous players as well.
Yeah.
But they're so tactically inferior to the team that was there last year and the year before that they're going to lose a lot of points because of the way they set up, the way they go about their business, the team positions that they've got. And they don't look a good side to me. They've got some good individual players. They play some nice stuff at times, but they're nowhere near as good as what they should be, in my opinion.
Do you see any of it, Seamus? Or are we just wasting our time talking about football with you?
Yes, it's a waste of time, but you must have been so happy with the result, Chris.
Why?
Because you don't rate De Zerbi at all.
Oh, right, yeah. He's proving my point for me, isn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think from the start, the moment he took over, the way he spoke and things he did, I think this has just been coming. It was just how long it took him to dismantle what Potter had built. And I don't rate and their recruitment as well seems to have, they've tried to change their recruitment and I'm not sure it's working. I think they should have stuck with what they were doing, but they've tried to go up a notch by buying players like João Pedro for them, big money, spending significant fees on a player who just isn't very good. And it doesn't make any sense. And he's got skill and ability, but he's not a good player. And I don't know how to. He's got the wrong mentality, the wrong attitude, and that for me. And I think when you're spending when you're spending a record fee on a player, they need to have the right mentality and attitude. Should be the first thing you look at. And that is something.
Yeah, but when your mentality and attitude isn't that great, maybe you're not the best use your character to buy them type of players, are you? Because they don't look half the side they were.
To be fair to them, they have lost a lot of their backroom staff that used to do, the recruitment staff in the last couple of years, and they've got a new man in charge in David Weir. Remember him, ex-Everton defender?
Yeah, I remember David well. Yeah,
was a very good defender, but he's never impressed as a member of backroom staff before, so I'm not sure he was the right choice again. But only time will tell because obviously it's early days yet, and it might just be he came in and took over somebody else's plan. I don't know, but yeah, they've not impressed me at all this season. I'm surprised they're so far up the table. I think it's a hangover from still the Potter era, a bit like when Moyes left Everton and you played well initially and you fell away, as I keep saying. I can just see it. I just see them gradually slipping down the table, and it won't be long before people will be asking questions about De Zerbi. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was one of the managers that ended up on his way this season, to be honest. For me,
I've seen them play some good stuff. I must admit, I've seen them play a bit of good stuff this year, and they've got good at times.
Pretty.
But I've also seen them looking really poor, and against Fulham was one of them cases. They didn't actually take the game to Fulham, and Fulham were as good as them, I'd say, and Fulham are a good side. And they were as good as them on the day for me, even though they had chances.
I would say they played pretty football, but it's not effective football. Like before, they struggled. The reason why it wasn't effective because they didn't have a goal scorer. They've got goal scorers now, but the football is just as ineffective because they're not attacking the same way that they're not making the chances they were because they're just playing. It's pretty rather than actually good football. See what I mean? I don't know that.
When Kevin Ferguson put them ahead, I thought the floodgates were going to open because I don't think Fulham are a good side. And with players like Mitoma and that, good play. You'd think they're going to do a lot better than what they have been. And I was surprised that Fulham come back. But I did watch the game and thought Fulham were, did give a good account of themselves. And I'm not a big Fulham fan, but they give a good account of themselves in the second half and deserve to get a point. But that might be my thinking.
Okay. Should we move on to the next game then? Liverpool versus Nottingham Forest. I've got to say this was one of the most one-sided games of the season.
Bit of a stroll in the park there, I think.
Forest didn't get a shot on target until like the last seconds of the game, when it was already all over. I was just. They didn't. I mean, the thing is, I've seen people making excuses for them. They didn't, and fair play. They have a lot of injuries, but for me, I would say that that's a problem with the fitness of the squad, and that's down to the coaching staff. We've got to look at their, the training they're doing, because there's either something wrong with the way they're warming players up, or they're not doing enough stretching, or they're just simply not fit enough to play the games. So that's their fault. I don't think that's something you can use an excuse. I think that's a problem within the squad itself, and they need to fix it. But the way they played, they had Morgan Gibbs-White playing just behind Anthony Elanga, the ex-Man United winger. He was playing as a lone striker role. You're playing against Liverpool with an inverted fullback. You know they're going to invert the right back, so there's a space out on that wing all the time. Now, you've watched Liverpool play. You must have watched Liverpool play this season to see where their weakness is. So you must have seen that the only time they've absolutely strolled a game was against West Ham when they played one up top and didn't put anybody else up. And the game, every time that somebody else pushed up alongside Antonio for West Ham, it suddenly looked like Liverpool could concede. The rest of the time it was a stroll. But as soon as somebody pushed up alongside him in the shape of Bowen, Liverpool looked in trouble. You know what I mean? Looked like they could concede and did concede as well. But Forest, they just didn't do that. I mean, if you've got Elanga and Morgan Gibbs-White, why not put Elanga on the left wing where he can attack that space when the fullback inverts? You've got a huge gap there for him to run at. And then push Morgan Gibbs-White up in the centre to keep the centre-backs pinned so they can't get out there. And suddenly you've got an actual point of attack at Liverpool. Instead, they just sat back with everybody behind the ball and just tried to defend for 90 minutes and got battered.
Sometimes we're guilty of underestimating how good Liverpool plays. Forest are a side that do give the all. They're very effective at what they do. I did think they do a great against Liverpool. I replayed the game for that. And, I think we've got to give a bit more credit to Liverpool rather than Forest being poor. I thought Liverpool went about the game really well. I thought, it could have been, that's another game that could have been 6. Easily been 6-0. And so, let's give a bit of credit to Liverpool there. That, I didn't think they were the actual best of Liverpool, but they did, they played some good football and, scored 3 goals and what more you want. And, it's all right to say Forest are poor. Forest give everyone a game in the play because they're so intense and, so I think it should be more about giving Liverpool credit for beating them 3-0.
Oh, yeah,
It's not easy when they put that many men behind the ball and you've got to try and break them down. And Liverpool did. So I'd say, well done, Liverpool. Forest just weren't good enough to play Liverpool on that day. So go on for it.
I was just going to say, the thing is, the initial goal, the first goal, came as a result of them not defending well, because Murillo brought the ball out of defence and lost it, but nobody took in, nobody took the gap up that he left. Nobody moved into it. Like if you watch like Van Dijk or Kwanzaa last night, or Matty when he makes his runs forward, somebody from the midfield or one of the fullbacks or somebody drops in and covers the gap that they leave. That's just, any team you watch virtually, when a defender strides out of defence, somebody drops in and covers that gap. For Forest, they were playing a back three, so the gap's only going to be small. Admittedly, it's going to be smaller, but nobody the left-sided centre back didn't shuffle over to cover. Nobody in midfield dropped back in to fill the gap. Nothing. They just left it. I mean, it was bizarre. And then got cut apart because there was a massive gap there. I mean, how could you have a hole at this level? And that would worry me if I was watching that. If I was Marinakis, and I'm watching that as them, as their owner, I would be really, really worried about the level of coaching, because that's basic football, and they've been let down by that there.
Mistakes happen in football, though, don't they? So, I know it was a bad mistake. Mistakes happen in football. I think they'll obviously talk about that and get it. But Liverpool was so comfortably after. They were never in the game, Forest. They were just outplayed by a better side. And sometimes you've got to say, they just, Liverpool were just miles ahead of them, light years ahead of them as a football team. And, even if they played the best, they wouldn't have won that game for me.
Oh, no, I'm not arguing. It's just there's not a lot to say about Liverpool's performance because it was so easy. It was dominant, and there was.
Yeah, it was.
Really, there's nothing really to dissect in the Liverpool performance, really, apart from Tsimikas was poor. That's it, because he was he's not played much, so he's rusty, no doubt. But apart from that, there's not really anything to dissect in the Liverpool performance because they just strolled to a win. So that's why I'm really picking at the Nottingham Forest side of it, because
I can see that.
There's just nothing to really talk about Liverpool. They dominated from start to finish and won at a canter. I mean, I don't think they even broke sweat. Did any? I mean, Szoboszlai must have done, because that man must have covered so. I swear they're coming, he must have 3 identical twin brothers, and they're rolling on and off, like in ice hockey, where they roll on and off for the pitch as the game goes on while in play, because there's no way that man could be in so many places at once. But it's like, you watch him, like yesterday, he's in the left back area. He was playing at right wing, but at one point he's in the left back area cleaning up and making a challenge. You're thinking, how the bloody hell do you get there from the right wing position in time to stop a break? And this guy is just he's
going very well.
Incredible. Incredible. He really has.
Is he your new favourite player, Tess? Is he at Liverpool?
He's certainly fighting for it, I've got to say. It was nice to see them showing support for Luis.
Who is he fighting against?
For me, I love Trent Alexander-Arnold because he's Scouser, Curtis Jones because he's a Scouser. It's nice to have them in the team, Who else do I like? Salah, obviously. Mo Salah. That's that's the big thing is, when you've got Salah, you're up against Salah, it's kind of difficult to pick anybody else, isn't it? I mean, how can you say somebody else when you got Salah there?
Oh, Salah, yeah. So people moan he's not doing enough. You just keep putting the ball in it and proving them wrong.
He's incredible. I mean, he scored some insane amount of goals again. And it was...
Yeah, but what an assist there was from Matt Turner.
Yeah, What a ball from Szoboszlai in the face, obviously. But what were Toffolo and Matt Turner doing? I mean, that's summed up there. For me, that's summed up where Forest are going wrong. Is that they just there's no organisation between the players. They just seem to be.
Did you watch that game, Deeps? Did you watch that?
Yeah, bits and bobs. And with
right.
Matt Turner, I think what happened is he was feeling left out because Andre Onana because Andre Onana has been getting so much love from the podcast here. So he's wanted a piece of that action.
Could you credit him with 2 assists because he did palm the ball out softly for for the second goal. Was it the second goal? Anyway, he palmed the ball out softly, didn't he, for their goal? So, one of the goals.
Yeah.
And that was a mistake as well. I think he's being found out at this level, to be honest, Turner. He's just not quite good enough, is he?
No.
But that doesn't matter.
It's a nice touch what he done when he scored the goal shot and put Diaz's shirt up. Thought that was a nice touch as well. That they're thinking of on that. So thought that was a nice touch by the club.
Yeah, still haven't found his dad either, sadly.
No.
Still searching for him. They're searching the forest, aren't they? Let's hope they find him. Must be horrible.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I did.
Someone was telling me mentioning about. Do you remember the lad who got killed in Colombia after they come back from the World Cup?
Yeah.
Many moons ago, and Luis Diaz missed a penalty for Colombia midweek, and people were, again he was picked up in a petrol station the same way that they was, and people were been saying that it's a similar sort of thing, but I don't know. I'd only be guessing at that way.
That was just an assassination. That the one this.
Yeah.
Kidnap. No doubt they wanted money.
So, probably.
Rich footballers, parents will get a lot of money for that. No doubt. We'll soon. I'm sure we'll
nasty
find
state of affairs. Nasty state of affairs, don't it?
Horrible for them. Anyway, should we move on? Because there's not really a lot more to say about that game, is there? It was so one-sided.
No.
So we'll move on to another game that was probably
I think
one-sided.
I think it's time for me to go to bed. I think I should say goodbye.
You stay where you are.
So it's definitely
see you guys next week. See you guys next week. Maybe the week after when things start to get better.
No, you won't get.
Bye bye. Good night. Goodbye.
Talk about one-sided games now.
That was the most. What's he doing? Shall I mute him? Shall I mute him?
The Manchester Derby well now, if anyone's listening. You should do that and all. But one of the most one-sided games I've ever seen in my life. City were good, don't get me wrong, but how bad were Manchester United?
City weren't good. We were just bad.
Yeah.
It pains me to say that a team that beat us 3-0 wasn't that good, but City were.
I thought they were good. I thought they were good, City. I thought they played some good stuff.
I thought they were just professional. They were just
they didn't
doing what was necessary.
Forest. It was just a stroll in the park, wasn't it? And
but where's the fight? Where's the fight from Man United?
Haaland was struggling to his general MO is just outpace and outmuscle, basically bully the defenders. He was struggling to bully Maguire and yet ended up with 2 goals.
Yeah. That's because Maguire's not a good player, though, Deep. So I know you think he's had a bit of resurgence lately, but
Billy,
he's not a good player, mate.
Billy, tell me he's not been better these past few games. I'm not saying he's a good player. I'm saying he was much worse before.
He's not as bad as what he was, rather than he's played good.
Exactly.
He's not as bad as what he was, and
But I think we were robbed. I think we were robbed. It was a call by the referee.
It should be 10-0.
It was 12 men against 11 boys.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it was, yeah.
I've got to say, the only thing that got me is that the penalty was given for the lesser foul when Maguire rugby tackled
on
twice.
John Stones. If I'm being serious. Yeah, if I am being serious, then the City were not that great, but they were professional, like I said. And my issue with that penalty that was given is much worse incidents happened. Just not just in the game week, in the same match, a much worse infringement happened. If you took those 2 clips out, Højlund and Rodri and Maguire on Stones later on, and asked me which one is a penalty, and you can only give one, then the Maguire one is like head and shoulders much worse.
I think they were both bad, to be honest with you. I can't see the problem with not giving a penalty better.
No, my problem.
Højlund right back.
No, my problem, Billy. My problem, Billy, with those decisions is it's so inconsistent.
Yeah, we know there's inconsistency.
Even for the same referee and the same VAR officials, it's different. How is it possible? You can't have like a similar incident happen. One is given as a penalty and another one isn't. You have to be consistent, otherwise those incidents will keep on happening.
Don't you think that he might have been feeling sorry for you at that point? Because the other one was the first one.
This is Premier League football, not underage. If you start feeling sorry for those teams, then maybe again we have to consider the bias that is part of the game.
I'd agree with that. But it made no difference to the results. It should have been given, the Maguire one. But the Rodri one, it was WWE wrestling, wasn't it?
It wasn't. It wasn't WWE referee. If I'm being honest, it was a foul. And if it had happened anywhere outside of the penalty area, then there would have been absolutely no debate at all. So clearly it's a foul, and a foul should be a penalty. But I just want consistency in those decisions. That's all.
I can see that. And I agree with you that you should have given a couple of penalties.
There was 2 Harry Maguire ones. I mean, one just before, literally at the same incident that he gave the penalty for, was one Harry Maguire was literally threw him to the ground. That was WWE, and then he did it again later on in the same, at the other end in the second half.
Yeah.
And thinking, I mean, how is the referee not spotting this? Yeah, he spotted that. They've spotted the other one. How are the VAR officials not noticing the far worse challenge? So either they don't understand football, which is a worry because they're obviously being badly trained, or there's something seriously wrong with what they're seeing. Because they're not spotting.
No, there can be another explanation for this. They are encouraging the players to go down to the ground.
Yeah,
that's the only way that.
I can see that.
Which is again an issue for me because if it's a foul, then it should be a foul whether the player stays on his feet or goes to the ground.
In fact, we should be encouraging them to stay up, try and stay up.
Yeah, if anything, you should say Rodri went down quite easily, so maybe it's not a penalty, and Stones still struggled, so it's a penalty. If you have to decide, then you have to. I would say they have to try and promote what Stones did, which is stay on your feet.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I can see that, but I still think the Rodri one was stonewall for me. Stonewall. Absolute stonewall penalty.
No, I've admitted it myself, believe. In all seriousness, it's a foul. A foul is a penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is if players don't get decisions standing up, then it just encourages more and more diving.
Yeah, but you're not going to discourage defenders doing that to players, and that's another point. Unless you give them decisions against them, there'll be that much dragging in areas that we see all the time. People trying to put people in headlocks, people pulling back. You've got to stop that. You've got to cut that out. And the only way to cut that out is to give decisions like penalties for that so they stop it and they get coached not to do that, because that's ruining the game as well. So I've got no problem with them giving penalties for that, whether it be Everton or whether it be Man United or Liverpool. If you do that in the area, you get what you deserve. And, you know, you've got to, that's the only way to stop it, is to give decisions like that. It's like giving bookings for people who badmouth the referee into his face and argue and all. They should be booked for dissent. And you can't, so if people don't do it, and it cleans the game up. That's my opinion on it anyway.
Yeah, the problem is they'll do it with one player, and the player stood next to him doing exactly the same won't get booked for it. And there's no consistency. We've seen it, especially if he's wearing a Spurs shirt. He'll just get.
I agree with that, Tris. But you've got to clamp down somewhere.
Yeah. So they've got to do it all.
Yeah, but occasional and selective decisions isn't gonna really change.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that, Dix. I agree with you on that. It should be across the board that if you pull someone down in a penalty area, it's a penalty, and possibly a booking, possibly a sending off, whatever. But it's got to be trying to eradicate that from the game, because it's ruining the game. So, you know, I'm all in favour of them giving penalties for that, so long as they do it consistently. And you're right about that; it's not getting done consistent.
Speaking of consistency.
Yeah, go on, mate.
We've become quite consistent as a team.
You have, yeah.
Yeah, losing 3-0 at home back to back.
You've got to say you've got serious problems when you've got Howard Webb, who's been Man United's 12th man on so many occasions, in charge of refereeing in this country, and you're still losing games repeatedly.
That's because the Glazers don't want to invest money. I'm telling you, you have to put some $. In his pocket.
Yeah, and I can't take credit for that, because that's because Michael on the live chat just pointed that out. I hadn't even thought of that. But yeah, I mean, they really are struggling when they can't even win with Howard Webb in charge of referees. You're in trouble.
Yeah, but how long of a rope does Ten Hag have now?
Not very far.
But what's the point in changing him? Because he's not the issue. Okay, he's not helping matters. He's not. He's causing. He's not. But yeah, it's not.
It is his team now, though, Tris. Yeah. It is his team now. A lot of the players he's brought in, and he must have had something to do about it. And I think he's lost the dressing room. Personally, I think he's lost the dressing room. I think the other horrible sod, Fernandes, I think he's got too much to say. He's absolutely playing like a bag of shite at the moment, and he's not helping. He's got a frown on his face from when he starts the game till the game ends. He's an absolute disgrace for Millwall football. Not the only one. Anthony's attitude when he come on was absolutely disgusting as well. He got booked. He was only on for 2 minutes, and scowling and trying to kick people. And I think the whole mentality of the United squad is in question here. You know, why are they running the team like that? The players are an absolute disgrace, I think, for United. I think the manager's lost the dressing room. That's my opinion on United at the moment.
Yeah, but I think they need to clear out that dressing room anyway, and I think I'd keep him in place, get the dressing room cleared out while he's there, and then see what he can, see about changing him. If it was me, only if it still carries on.
Yeah, but it's United's always been about short term as well as long term success, and that's not going to happen overnight. Just to get rid of some of them players that you need to get rid of, that's going to take seasons. Who's going to pay the money for Anthony, or who's going to want Fernandez, or most of the United players? Who's going to want these players and pay them the money they're on at United? They're going to stay there for years. And I don't think it's feasible that they can get rid of them in a time that's going to help Ten Hag. I think the manager might have to fall on the sword here. I really do.
Yeah, I think he'll be gone soon.
Fernandez can find a buyer. It's not him. That's the issue. If we want to, if it's the likes of Anthony, I would say even
Mason Mount. Mason Mount.
Yeah, Eriksen.
He just doesn't look a player, does he? Mason Mount doesn't look a player at all. Is he being played out of position? Is he just can't be asked?
I think he's had at least 2 stints out injured in the space of 10 games. So that's already a negative for me. And even if it is 1 stint out, you can't come off the back of an injury hit season and then again miss about half the games. By the time it's November, so it's already a negative point for me. And I think I thought from the derbies that he doesn't show up for the ball as much as I thought he would.
No.
He doesn't try to get on the ball and make things happen, and maybe that's not the way he plays, but still, that's what we require. And if he can't fit the bill for what we require, then where is he going to fit the team?
It was a very strange signing because he didn't see it not suited to the.
Yeah, I said it like we had the same discussion when he was first signed. Like, where does he fit in a fully fit team?
He was playing instead of Anthony. I think that, or on the left-hand side instead of Rashford, and Rashford went central. But you've got, Rashford went right. I mean, instead of Anthony, because clearly Anthony's the weak link, weakest.
Yeah, but he wasn't playing. But he wasn't playing in the derby either. Anthony wasn't playing. It was Bruno playing from the right.
No, that's what I mean. He's, it just seems like he's moving too many pegs around into square pegs into round holes all the time, isn't he? And yeah, I do think he's got his recruitment wrong. He's the one that's brought in too many of the wrong types of players, but he's added them to a squad that's already got plenty of problems, and they haven't dealt with that. They haven't cleaned it out, and they do need to do some of that. I can't see him lasting much longer. I've got to be honest.
So my next question is, who do we bring in?
Potter.
How can we solve this problem?
I don't think the supporters that I spoke to don't want Potter. Why I don't know, but
because it needs. Yeah, no, definitely not Graham Potter. No, because he needs somebody. He needs support and a board that can actually back him and stuff. Oh God, no, he'd be wasted there. It'd be a waste of time for him and a waste of time for United. No, definitely Harry Potter.
Listen, boys, I'm very sorry about this, but I've got visitors and I'm going to have to leave you. They don't come very often, but I've got visitors tonight and they're sitting in there and I'm getting stared at. And so I'm going to have to call it a day, I'm afraid. I might have got through the Man United one anyway. So listen, thanks very much for listening, and I've enjoyed it, and I shall see you next week. Thanks a lot, boys. Cheers now. Ta-ra, Deep.
Yeah, ta-ra, Billy.
Should we move on to the Carabao Cup then? Games?
No. Who actually replaces Ten Hag?
Oh, right.
Because
sorry,
can't notice the name.
Graham
Potter is one of the guys you can maybe mood, but then you can see the supporters not being on board and us ending up in the same situation
it's not
6
right
to
for
12
you.
months later.
Do you know what? I mean, all the one I can't see who would want to go there. Is the problem? And this is what you do. It's all very well saying these players who were, him or him or him, but why would they want to? You know? I'm trying to think, is there any way you can get a list of out-of-work managers? Because let's face it, there's no point you spending money on bringing someone in.
Yeah, but the list is very uninspiring. Yeah, the likes of Marcelino.
Do you know who I'd say to go for though? If I was
There's Conte.
No, forget any of them. I think the one you should be going for, if you're going to go for someone, it'd be Kieran McKenna of Ipswich.
Yeah, but is he gonna get the Is he gonna get the respect of the squad?
Should do. He should do. He's done very well at Ipswich as well, hasn't he? But pretty much a wonder job there. So.
But he was chased out of Manchester United, sadly.
Yeah, but he'd be the one I'd say. That'd be the one if I was, because I'd say you're a club of the size of Man United, you should be headhunting the best man possible to go and get. They're saying Conte and Tuchel on the live chat, but both of them make things worse.
Tuchel isn't out of job.
Well, even if he wasn't out of a job, he's terrible. Yeah. I mean, you only have to look at what he's done at losing to a third-tier side.
There's a Hansi
Tuchel's
Flick.
not out of a job. Tuchel's got a job.
No,
Conte.
Yeah. There's Hansi Flick. There's Conte.
Yeah.
There's Julian Lopetegui. There's Oliver Glasner, who did really well for Frankfurt, but again, it's Freddie Frankfurt. There's Marcelino.
You've got to go for someone I think you've got to go for someone like McKenna, and support him and give him time and back in. I think that's where you've got to be looking for me. I think anything else would be a mistake and take you backwards, if anything.
Even if you look at the guys that are at the job, then the people you might consider are maybe Roger Schmidt at Benfica, Ruben Amorim. I don't know how he's doing recently, but he had a very glowing reputation at one point. Then there's Xavi Alonso, who's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think
he's got a clear go to either Real Madrid, Liverpool, or Barcelona. Not Barcelona. Bayern, I meant. He won't go to Barcelona. No. No way. Yeah, that wouldn't work at all. Because the fans wouldn't accept him because he's ex-Real Madrid. Be no point in going there. It'd be like you employing Kenny Dalglish. You know what I mean? Even if he was the best manager in the world right now, you know what I mean, winning everything, the fans still wouldn't accept him if he took charge. And it's stupid because they seem to forget that the best, the man who created the modern Man United, Sir Matt Busby, was an ex-Liverpool captain. I know he went straight from being Liverpool captain to manager of Man United.
Do you know who I just stumbled across? A name which was your favorite at one point? Marcelo Gallardo.
Yes, of course, Gallardo's out of work. Yes. Oh, I'd like to see him get a job in the in Europe just to see how he does. And he said he wanted to manage in the Premier League. That's not a bad shout, actually. But I think, in these kind of positions, when you're a club like Man United, I think you have to go and headhunt the man who best suits what you want from your manager. And I think you're looking at, I think Gallardo and McKenna would be the two I'd be picking between then. No, I'd forgotten about Gallardo being available. But it'd definitely be one of those two. And I think personally, McKenna's got something about him. He's got that Nagelsmann vibe, if you ask me. You know.
Okay. And what's happened with Michael Carrick? His Middlesbrough did pretty well last season.
Yeah, they're doing all right. They've come back up again. You know, they've started off badly, but they've started picking up better results now. But I'm just not that convinced. I mean, you know, when you're at Middlesbrough, it should be, you know, you should always do fairly well. Where he came is where they should be. You know what I mean? He didn't overperform. Whereas Kieran McKenna's clearly overperforming with Ipswich after shaking them up from League One. When he just said Gary Neville, that's a great shout. Did you see when he was talking with Ange Postecoglou? And they said about him, and they said about it, you'd copy Pep Guardiola to Ange Postecoglou, and it was Carragher said to him about him copy, you know, they say you copy and Pep Guardiola or something like that, and Gary Neville said that I tried to copy Pep Guardiola, and Postecoglou just said, and how did that work out for you?
No, Postecoglou seems like
I like
funny
him.
character, actually.
Yeah, I like him. I really do. You should have got him, really, shouldn't you? Let's be honest.
No, I don't think, like you said, I don't think the manager is the main issue for us.
No,
it's
it's
not the problem we should to solve.
You've got so much wrong there. I don't think it's going to make any difference. It's just, you know, you're a three-wheeler in a Formula One race, and you're driving a Robin Reliant these days. Do you actually know what a Robin Reliant is? I've just thought you probably haven't seen one.
No, listen. I can like give you just for the Formula One. I can give you a metaphor. We can employ whoever we want, but as long as the car isn't as good as Verstappen's, we're not going to be able to compete with Verstappen.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I say. Basically, you're in an F1, but you're not even in a car. You're not even in an F1 car. That's what I'm saying at the moment. Yours is in such a mess. It's like taking in a car from a lesser category and trying to race it against Formula One cars, and then wondering why you're getting lapped, because that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, it's like even if we have Lewis Hamilton as a race car driver, since we're Ferrari, we're not gonna win the damn trophy anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you just it won't matter. But that's why I'm saying I wouldn't sack him, but I think they will sack him.
Especially if there is some sort of change in the ownership structure, he's gonna get the boot.
Yeah, well, you've heard the boos anyway around Old Trafford. When that starts happening, it's very rare manager gets through it.
But the boos have, at least for me, the boos have only come on when it's been Højlund taken off. And my opinion on Højlund is we bought him a year too soon.
Yeah, but last night, at the end, after the game, the boos rang out, mate. Did you not hear it was definitely.
I told you.
Boos. No, I didn't know if you'd watched it or not. I did. I turned over from our game to watch the end of it because I'd seen the score and I was like, I've got to watch this, see what it's like at the end. Oh my God, they were booing. Bazza even filmed it and say, he sent me the him recording his TV and the boos. I don't know why, because I watched it, but why he sent me that, I don't know. It was quite funny to watch again. Yeah, definitely the fans are turning, mate. And once that happens, there's only one thing that's going to happen, because otherwise, if you don't change the manager, the fans it becomes the board they start turning on, and they won't want that. So, should we move on anyway to the Carabao Cup games, because we've got more. We can talk about Man United being shite a bit more then later, can't we? Which I'm sure you'll enjoy. Start West Ham beating Arsenal 3-1.
What's happened to Arteta? He can't stay in a cup competition.
Well, and there's starting to be rumblings of discontent among the supporters with the the riot thing and that, and his change, his tweaks, constant tweaks. He even said he wanted to try something different, and I'm like, why don't you just stick with what's working? There's definitely rumblings of discontent coming there. Yeah, I could see things turning if he's not careful. He needs to, they need to keep winning, or he's in the league now, or yeah, that's going to turn. I mean, they were very poor by all accounts. I didn't see this game, obviously, because it was on at the same time as the Liverpool game. But like to lose 3-1 to such a poor West Ham side as well, that's worrying. They didn't even play well. I mean, if you read the West Ham fans, then it wasn't like they battered them.
They're a bit of a weird bunch towards the supporters.
True. Don't expect. It's just the way they are. They're not used to winning. A bit of a shock to the system, especially under Moyes, because they, go playing against a team like Arsenal. They normally throw it away against the bigger sides, don't they? So it's a bit of a shock to the system for them to win like that. From what I can gather, though, it was a well-deserved win. Arsenal were very poor. Yeah, I don't know what Arteta's playing. Why he has to keep tweaking things rather than just, when something's working, stick with it until it stops working. Then you tweak it. Have you tweaking the planning and practicing, and train the players in a future tweet, in a tweet you can use. And then if your game plan's not working out at the start, you tweak it mid game, don't you? And you've had the players drilled in the change you might have to make ready because you want to change it to that, and then you can slowly introduce it, the tweak, the changes you want to make. But don't introduce it when you're winning, and then I wonder why you start losing. It's just stupidity. Yeah. Anyway, should we move on to the Bournemouth Liverpool game? Yeah, I mean, 2-1, it sounds like it was a closer game than it was, but it was just an awful match. The conditions were horrible, wind and rain, and the ball was like, I mean, there was at one point the player kicked the ball and it ended up coming back to him because it just hit, he kicked it forward and it came back to him because it curled up in the wind so much that it just literally flew back at him. It was really bad, and the goalkeeper was at fault on their goal, the Bournemouth goal. Kelleher made a mistake, misjudged it because of the wind, and it ended up going in. I mean, Gomez had saved him the first time he'd done that by being on the line, but he couldn't save the second time. When it got to Bournemouth player, put it in. I mean, the thing that I took away from that is because it was such a poor poor game, and like nobody really played well. There was a great finish by Nunes for this. That was a fantastic goal by Nunes. Well worth a look at if you want to see a brilliant goal. But the thing I took away from it, what really stood out for me, is Alex Scott. I don't know if you've seen him play. He's supposed to be a highly rated young English lad. They got him in from Bristol City in the summer, beat off Wolves to buy him. And
Guardiola raved about him last season when they played Bristol City.
Yeah, but he does that a lot, and it doesn't mean anything. It's normally just a PR thing, isn't it? But
no,
yeah,
for me, nowadays it just means for me this player isn't that good.
Yeah. Well, I watched it. He was fucking awful, but he's just soft as shit. He really is the most annoying, whiny little cheating get you'll ever see. Every time, I mean, even when he slipped over with nobody around him, he's hobbling for the next few minutes until a ball gets passed in his general direction, and he's suddenly sprinting like he suddenly recovers. It's the magical cure. He's played the ball in his direction and suddenly recovers from every injury. But every time anyone went near him, he's thrown himself to the floor, and then he's hobbling in pain, like he's like he's playing through the pain barrier for the next few minutes until he forgets he's pretending to be in pain and then carries on. It's like constantly. I'd have to take him if it was If he was my player, I'd have kicked him myself if I was his manager. If I was Iriola, I'd have run on and booted his legs out from under him and said, "There, now you're fucking it." Because you just, he's costing his team because he's hobbling about. He's not getting involved in the game. He's not helping them defend. He's not helping them build attacks. He's just arsing about trying to be a diva. Players like that, what's going to cost them the chance of staying in the league if they're not careful? Awful player, really is, and it's embarrassing to watch that kind of attitude. I just can't understand how he's not embarrassed. Oh, it's a shame to watch him. You know what I mean? You just watch it thinking, give it a rest, lad. Just fucking play on. There's nothing wrong with you. There was nothing anywhere near you. You didn't get, your legs weren't touched. Somebody pushed you, and then he's hobbling afterwards like he's had his legs broken. I mean, he really did. You know, when you've seen someone have their shin broken and they're hobbling so bad, desperately needing someone to hold on to stand up, sort. That's what he looked like all the time. It's like, oh. I don't know how his manager copes. I wouldn't pick him. I don't understand why they bought him if he plays like that. I just really don't get it. It's embarrassing. He's either the softest player in the world or he's just a cheat. And I know which I'm thinking it is. And he's not soft. He's just a cheat. You know what I mean? But you're not helping your team by doing that. That's my point. He's a hindrance. They were playing with 10 men for that entire match, basically, apart from like a couple of seconds in the half. That was it. Each half who played for a couple of seconds. Awful, and he's not helping his team by doing it. I just don't understand how a manager can just watch his player do that and not get furious with him. I know one of their coaches did get booked for something. Oh, it might have even been Iriola, but it was for shouting at the officials, not the actual. Yeah, I don't know why, because there wasn't actually really any contentious decisions. To be honest, there was nothing really in the game. It was just it was boring. I'm going to be perfectly honest. It was a very boring game. Really was not a good watch at all. Didn't enjoy it at all. And the only chances Bournemouth really had was because Kwanzaa kept dwelling on the ball. Somehow he won the man of the match, and I don't understand it because I thought he was poor. Took too long every time he got the ball, and he was, waiting for the right thing, right ball rather than just get the ball moving quickly. You know what I mean? Get them moved back so they can't press you, and then you can start looking for the right ball. But it was, I was really not impressed with Liverpool last night. But Bournemouth are god awful, thankfully, so it was an easy win. Despite that, I mean, the score flattered them, to be honest. What's the next one? Chelsea Blackburn Rovers. Chelsea actually getting a win. I mean, Blackburn Rovers
scoring goal.
Yeah, and 2 goals. Yeah, I know. Cool. So, bit of a chin up for the Books, that one, isn't it?
Well, at least November they have a goal to pick from for the goal of the month.
Yeah, for a change.
It was September. It was September when they had just 1 goal.
Yeah.
And that was in the EFL Cup. Anyways, like I'm going through the teams, going through the results. Liverpool are downright favourites.
Move on. We might as well go on to the next. Not really a lot to say about it.
Everton, Burnley.
Yeah.
The Saunders derby.
Yeah, it wasn't much of a game either, by all accounts. Very one-sided.
Yeah, but we've already said Burnley.
Yeah.
Don't look threatening at all.
Yeah, they don't attack. They just pass and pass and pass around between themselves. It's like they forget that the idea is to actually pass into the opposition half so you can attack them. Yeah. So move on to the next one then.
But how much? But how much difference does having a genuine striker make for Everton?
Oh, she's made a huge difference.
Ever since Calvert-Lewin has returned fit for the team, they've looked much more potent.
Well, to be fair, it was when they brought in Beto. when he started playing, because he took a while to get into the team because he wasn't fit. Once he got fit and he came in, and they looked better. They started performing a bit more, and then Calvert-Lewin got fit just afterwards, and that's changed it considerably. Yeah, he's having a goal scorer though makes it a focal point as well. Because he's not just a goal scorer; he's a focal point for their attack. He links up play well. That's his main strength, if you ask me, rather than scoring goals.
Yeah, it's just nice to see Everton win a few matches.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
I'm a Man United supporter. It means by proxy, I feel like Everton should stay in the Premier League because for years they've been our garbage bin.
Yeah, they're the team you can normally pick up a guaranteed 3 points against, aren't they? So,
and also make sure we can sell our players to them when they are not good enough for us.
Good point.
If Everton had good finances, then I wouldn't be worried where we're gonna move Anthony on, where we're gonna move likes of Mount and Maguire.
Yeah, because that's why Maguire's still there. Let's be honest, because Everton have got no money. Yeah, we bought him otherwise.
That's the pitch of it now for us. So anyways, next up it's.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, it's Fulham. Your Kieran McKenna start looks a bit iffy now, doesn't it? It would have looked better if it was 3-1 the other way around.
Yeah, but I mean, they've only come up from League One last season. He took over a team that was absolute shambles, which is one of the reasons why I think he's such a good shout. It's because Ipswich were an absolute mess when he took over there in League One. And within a few months, he'd taken them back up into the Championship and absolutely storming the way up to the Championship. And now they're up in, is it second place in the Championship already? Very little. They've done very little in the transfer market. In fact, quite a few of the players that were on their way out and looked like they weren't anywhere near good enough for Ipswich in League One are now looking like great players in the Championship. They brought back into the fold and got them playing well.
Wow, they're 9 points clear. Wow.
Yeah,
I hadn't realized.
You're suddenly thinking that they're not so bad then, eh? There's Kieran McKenna.
No, they're 9. Oh, and even better, they're 9 points clear with one game in hand.
Yeah.
Oh.
See, sometimes I do know what I'm talking about. I know it's a shock.
Yeah, a broken clock.
But occasionally, I do get things right. Do have a good. Not very often, admittedly. I think McKenna's a good manager in the making. He's got that Nagelsmann vibe.
I think even if he is good, I clearly don't know much about him at all. But even if he's any good, I think there has to be a step in between Ipswich Town and Man United.
Possibly, but I think what you need is someone to come in and fix a mess, because you're in a mess, and that seems to be his forte.
Yeah, but he's going to get pelters from the supporters because he's not a big name. And I know that's part of our issue. That's part of the problem for us.
That is the problem, yeah. And I think that's going to be the same whoever it is. In fact, we may as well talk about the last game of the week. The Man United Newcastle one.
Yeah, it's a nice segue.
We're doing them both together pretty much anyway, aren't we? So yeah, I mean Newcastle battered Man United last
night. Another game, another 3-0 loss. Surprise me.
And were you how many of these have you watched?
I watch us play, we lose. I don't watch us play, we lose. We just lose.
That's
the nature of it.
So clearly, it's not you jinxing them anymore. It's just a shite. That's at least we've established that now. So you can watch if you want, or not watch if you want as well.
No, but I think I cannot watch
if you don't want. If you want,
I can safely not watch because it's not gonna matter to the superstition.
Yeah, or you can safely watch because it's not going to matter to the superstition as well. Because that was your reason for not watching it, because you were superstitious and said you were making them lose. But now you can prove that it's definitely not you making them lose. They're just shit. It might have been you making them lose in the past, but now, I think even the luck end, maybe the luck end, they could change their luck for the better and give them some lucky results. Right? So don't watch them.
Oh, we had won 3 games in a row. We had won 3 games in a row when we faced off against Man City, okay?
I mean, to be fair,
let's not talk about the opposition there. Let's just focus on the results only. I'm not gonna mention who we played in the 3 games prior, but still. You can't even chalk it up to like being in bad form then. Or not having luck or whatever.
True. Yeah, you're just outplayed and outfought. That's the thing I think is the issue is clearly the manager has not got the players fighting for him because they're not.
Yeah, but the players haven't fought for the shirt and fought for any managers as well. It's not just this one particular manager.
No,
that's what I've been saying, and I'm pretty sure that's what you've been trying to allude as well.
Yeah.
By saying.
Yeah,
clear out the players before you clear out.
But you've still got to say that the players he's brought in, the ones that he's chosen, aren't fighting for him either, and that's a big worry because surely they wouldn't be earning that huge amount of money, ridiculous overpaid salary they're getting, and the cut of a ridiculous transfer fee that should never have been anywhere near that much. If it wasn't for him, you think they'd be desperate to keep him in a job. Because without him, I mean, Anthony, who else would have paid, 90 odd million, was it?
And he's not. I don't think he's going to get a move to what we call a big club anywhere.
No, because your fans even call him a fidget spinner, for God's sake, because he's that bad. I mean, he's got 5% of that transfer fee. You think he should be busting his balls for Ten Hag to say thank you, mate? Without you, I would never have got that kind of money, would he? Let's be honest. I mean, I watch him and I just think he's one of those players that you just love to watch. Not because he's any good, but because it gives you hope you could still be a footballer. And I'm nearly I'm like a little bit older than him. And you watch him play and think, I could do that. In fact, I could do that better. So I've still got a chance of making it as a professional in the Premier League. That's why I like him, because he does bring that as a player. I'm talking about. I don't particularly like him as a person. Let's be honest. He's not a very likable character. His attitude stinks. You watch him. I'm not talking about what he's done off the pitch, because obviously we don't know. It's the allegations. We've got no evidence like Edward Greenwood to know that it's like pretty much
the evidences that have been put forward kind of sort of favor him. At least the ones I've seen.
Yeah, I've no idea. I've not seen any, so I'm not talking about that. I'm totally ruling that out of the equation because I've got no idea. He's not being proven guilty. So,
yeah, but he is the kind of player. Even if he plays for your own team, you want to just slap the taste out of his mouth.
He's just frustrating, isn't he? Horrible.
No quality, but a lot of bitching about. At least with Fernandes, there is quality.
Yeah, but
maybe there's
when
not.
On it.
Yeah. Maybe he's out of form. You can say, he's out of form. He's on the credit for his past performances and everything. With Antony, it's just like, if someone punched him in the face, I'd say send them both off.
I don't know if I would. I think I'd probably just pretend I didn't see it if I was a referee and punched him in the face. I think I'd just say, "Oh, what? I didn't see anything." No. Yes.
Stop being a bitch.
If the VAR sent me to the screen, I'd go over there and I'd
you turn your back on the screen.
No, I'd take my glasses off before watching, saying, "Can't see anything there. What are you talking about?" Yeah, no, it's just one of those. He's such a horrible player to watch. His attitude stinks. And I know people will say he works hard, but it's the way he works. There's players who truly work hard. He'll put a shift in, he'll chase back and get in the right positions. And then there's players like him that just do enough to be seen to be working hard rather than actually do anything. If you see what I mean, he'll chase back, but he's always 2 yards away from an opponent. He's always too far away to actually do anything. It's one of those. Know what I mean? People complain about Rashford not putting the work in, but when he chases back, he gets close, and he actually affects the play. When Antony works back, it's just when I've watched him anyway. I mean, maybe I'm being unfair, and it's just a small, on the sample size I've watched is a bad time for him to play. But every time I've watched him chase back, he's deliberately stood off the player. You know what I mean? To make sure he doesn't actually have to do it. Doesn't actually do anything. Just looks like he's working. There's a lot of players like that around in the game. You watch them, and there's loads of them. Like Sancho's another one. When they put the effort in,
Antony just seems like he wants to pick a fight with everyone,
but
he comes across as a playground bully who just wants to show and act their tough, but he's actually a coward.
Yeah, if somebody turned around and said, "Come on, then," he'd run a mile, unless it was one of his ex-girlfriends, obviously. Shouldn't have said that. I was probably out of order saying that, wasn't it? Even as a joke. Yeah. That was a bad one. That was a really bad joke. I'm sorry. But I couldn't resist. Anyway, should we just quickly talk about the draw? Everton got Fulham at home. Yeah, oh God. You're going to wear them out, Those buttons do wear out, I hope. I wonder if I can ban you from using them. Anyway, yeah, Everton got Fulham at home to Fulham. Chelsea are at home to Newcastle. Port Vale at home to Borough. So there you go. That's how Carrick's doing. He's got them through to the quarterfinals. And Liverpool are at home to West Ham. So we're going to get at least one lower league team through. Which is there, like I was saying to you before we recorded the podcast. At least that's nice to have a lower league side in the semi-finals. Though it depends on who gets them. Oh God! Oh. You're like the Harry Kane case of this pod, I think. Oh fucking hell! Oh. Anyway, yes. So gotta look at it. You gotta. It's a good draw for Borough.
It's a good draw overall, and like I said before, it's this one's Liverpool's to lose now. I know Newcastle are still in it, but it's Liverpool's to lose. You've got a home tie.
It's a cup, though. It's a cup, and teams can play out.
Yeah, it's a cup. No, it's a cup. It's a small domestic cup and all, but still, you've reached the quarterfinals, and the path to final is relatively easy.
Yeah, but West Ham will put their first team out. Moyes will put his first choice players out.
Yeah, but Moyes is also going to play for nil-nil, so.
Yeah, that's true. But Liverpool will be playing a reserve side. He'll be playing his second choice team like he has done all through the competition. So it's not as cut and dried as you think, is what I'm trying to say. It's still a tough one, I think. And in a situation like this, team like Chelsea and Newcastle as well, one-off cup games, they're the kind of teams that can fluke it. You know what I mean? They've got the quality.
Well, if you can't beat Eddie Howe and Pochettino to a trophy, then you don't deserve to win it anyways.
No, definitely. Even if it is our reserves we're putting out, you should still beat those two to a trophy. I agree fully, 100%. So, anything else you want to talk about?
I think we've covered all our bases.
Well, you couldn't even remember the Ballon d'Or had taken place, so let's be honest. So even if there was more news, and this should be something we definitely should be talking about, you
No,
wouldn't
but
remember
it
anything,
also
would you?
kind of no, but it also kind of highlights how important the awards are actually these days.
Yeah, yeah. Let's be honest. None of us cared, did we?
But I still can't get over the fact that it's. I am pretty sure there's an award for the whole World Cup thing, like FIFA does their
Yeah,
awards,
they
like
do it.
best player,
Yeah,
like
they do
top
it.
scorer, best
Yep.
goalkeeper, everything. So surely they can separate. Oh, wait.
Yeah,
They have separated themselves from Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, FIFA
Now
have
I
their own one.
understand it. Ah.
Yeah, Ballon d'Or
So this
separate,
is
just
just the
France
French.
football now.
Yeah.
Yeah, France football one.
This is just France football doing its own version. Maybe it's the FIFA best award that's gonna get the actual.
I doubt it. This is FIFA.
Yeah, but
For a
there's a
while.
part of me. There's a part of me that just can't fathom. No, there's a part of me that just can't fathom. That just can't understand the fact that there is a genuine chance that the best player I'm doing like in air quotes, the best player in the world is either gonna be a guy who plays in the MLS or a guy who touches the ball 5 times in a game.
It's astonishing, isn't it?
Yeah, one plays in retirement league and another one touches the football less than you and I would do.
It's astonishing, really, isn't it, when you put it like that? Oh my god! Like, yeah, and it is going to be one of them too. That's the sad thing. Yeah, they did. They were to get Ballon d'Or started sooner. Then they merged it with the FIFA thing, and then it split apart about 3-4 years ago, I think it was.
Oh, there's another one, Chris. I just remembered. 2034 World Cup, Saudi Arabia.
Oh, Saudi Arabia got
They're
the
gonna host,
2034
yeah.
World Cup. Correct. Yes. Yeah.
Just at the last moment.
Yeah, well done, well remembered. Because the others pulled out, and as they probably knew they weren't going to get it anyway. I mean, let's be honest. We knew it was going to go to Saudi Arabia. It was.
That's what they've been building up for with this whole Saudi Pro League.
Yeah, so anyone who thinks it's just going to go away like the Chinese Super League did, it ain't going to go away before 2034. So you've got at least another 11 years of it. At least. Well, no, 10 and a half, I should say. When are they playing it? Actually, they'll play it won't they play it in the winter? Like
probably, yeah.
One. Yeah, so it won't be. It'll be 11 years then. It'll probably be about this time it'll kick off, won't it? In 11 years time.
But look, the Saudi Pro League is like happening right now, and it was happening like a few months ago as well. So maybe they can do it at that time as well.
Yeah.
No, actually, I would have thought if Qatar World Cup was too hot, then Saudi Arabia isn't going to be much different.
Well, it should be hot. It should be just as hot. I mean, you say the Saudi Pro League, but they only have like 500-600 people at the games. So, that might be why they only get 500-600 people at the games in the Saudi Pro League. It's quite embarrassing.
Yeah, but that was to watch Gerrard's team.
Yeah.
Ronaldo probably gets a few thousand people in.
Hey, Robbie Fowler got the sack when he was managing a second division side, unbeaten. I think it was 6 games or something like that he'd managed them for. 4 wins, 2 draws or something like that, and they still got rid of him.
What did he do?
I have no idea.
He must have done something outside.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they just thought that he should win every game or something. I don't know. Because they're normally a top tier side, so maybe they've spent a lot of money and think I haven't really looked into it. I just thought it was a bit odd them getting rid of him. Maybe he just had enough and wanted to go rather than they sacked him. If you see what I mean. That's just as likely. Thought this isn't my kind of thing. I want to go home. So Yeah, anything else other than that? 2034 Winter World Cup again, no doubt. Oh God, that's gonna. It's good job. It's 11 years away. By that point, I'll be what? And I'll be in my 30s by then. So
You'll be older than Billy is right now.
I'll be retired.
Actually,
then.
no. Actually, no.
Actually, yeah. I think I will. Actually, joking aside. Oh no, we take the
No,
piss
you
out.
wouldn't be. No, you wouldn't be.
Oh, I think I'm not saying it on I'm not saying it on air, but I was just figuring out what my age would be. Oh yeah.
I'll have just turned 22.
Would be bollocks. 11 years time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because you count on you counting on you using my system to count.
I think your system and my system is a bit different.
Yeah, because yours is just like you don't know how to count, so you just guess a number. Yeah. Whereas mine's based on the higher
You have quite the
intellectual.
balls. You've quite the balls to accuse an Asian of not being good at math.
See, now that sounded like you.
I can say it because I'm Asian.
Stereotyping. Yeah, hello. I was just thinking. I wouldn't be able to do that because that'd be stereotyping, and I can't do that. See, so that's why I can't. See, I wouldn't stereotype you that way. I'm assuming you're not good at math because I've spoken to you, and
One miscalculation. What? It's coming up to be 4 years now.
One.
Yeah, one miscalculation 4 years ago, and the sticker is still.
Mate, you're never going to get over it. You know that. Even if you live to be 157 in your counting system, even if you live that long, you still won't live it down. That's saying I'm still alive to rub it in, but I'll never let you live it down, mate. I still get things thrown at me in my family. Like you still get things thrown at you from when you were 3.
But that's because how you look.
Yeah.
You get things thrown at you because of your looks.
Yeah, I know it's dread. Women do that all the time, throw themselves at me. I see what you mean. Yeah, you're right. It's just I can't help being,
No, they don't.
I'll just
They don't throw. No, they don't
irresistible.
throw themselves at you. They throw up at you.
It's close enough. Same sort of thing, you know. You're just jealous of my stunning good looks and youthful beauty. That's what it is. Just jealous.
Yeah. Old man Tree is just calling himself youthful. Beatles were still making music when you were young, so maybe you should take a step back.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Do you know what? I have no idea.
I don't know. My father was probably. My mother was probably not even born when Beatles stopped making music.
I don't know. I was trying to figure it out. No, because the Beatles. The Beatles broke up long before. I was just thinking when John Lennon died, but they'd broken up long before then, and I have no idea, to be honest. My mum used to love the Beatles, so she had loads of first edition records and stuff like. But I don't know any. It's not my kind of thing. I wonder when. No, it doesn't matter. Don't get sidetracked. Don't get sidetracked. It's irrelevant. We don't need to know. Right, sorry, everyone. We're not going to get sidetracked and start talking about the Beatles now. Right, so we're going to call it there, I think, and we'll see you next Thursday. Have a great weekend, everyone.
See you next Thursday. I'll be back to cover another 3-0 loss for us, obviously. Goodbye.
Have you got?
Take care.
Have you got 2 games? You got the European game.
Yeah,
France, you might be
yeah. Another double header.
Yeah, aren't you lucky?
2-3 nuts.
Oh, that must make you feel happy, excited, looking forward to it. Oh, great.
No, I'm just waiting for the next international break, which is in March, I think.
No's one this month. 13th.
Really?
Yeah, 13th.
Okay.
It's this. I think this weekend's the. Then there's another weekend of, and then it's the international break. There's 2 more weekends, I think, and then it's an international break. Because I've got to go back and sort out paperwork left over in Dubai at some point, and that was when I was going to go, but it turns out I can't go back then because they've said I need to pay some sort out my ID stuff. Anyway, that's irrelevant. But that's how I know there's definitely an international break because I was planning on going back then, but I can't. So, yeah. Anyway, we'll call it there, and thank you for listening. If anybody's listened to this site on the end, then you really
if anybody,
deserve everything you get.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bastard.
Take care. Good night. Everything. The Beatles broke up in 1970. Bye.
Oh, that's nice. I saw it before I was born. Night. Bye. Take care, and see you next Thursday. And it's ended.